table with Colombia. Now we have coming up for you right after a break the entrance of the defending champions Brazil and Bolivia. And there's always a tightening in the stomach and a certain expectation when the name Brazil comes up on the caption. Live commentary with Alan Parry and Martin O'Neill right up.
Welcome to the Sausalito Stadium here in Viña del Mar on the coast. And we're looking forward to the first appearance this particular competition of the holders, Brazil. Great excitement about this new-look Brazilian team as we look again at the geographical location of tonight's game. Just north of Valparaiso and about an hour and a half drive from Santiago. Bolivia, of course, who caused one of the major upsets in the early matches, their 1-1 draw in Valparaiso against Uruguay in their opening game. Here's the Brazilian team that will be in action tonight, and there will be a few unfamiliar names to you there, I'm sure. Not that many of the squad involved in the Italian World Cup a year ago. Some new names, most of them home-based under Falcão, the new man in charge since Italia 90. But always great excitement when any Brazilian team takes the field. The Bolivians have been forced into a couple of changes from the side which drew with Uruguay. Barrero taking the place of Aragón in goal. That's a disappointment for them. And Jiguchi coming in midfield. Otherwise, the same team that has already caused one upset in this competition. Can they, I wonder, cause another? Brazil have changed in the nature of their football over the years, and amazingly, they've only won this competition 4 times in 75 years, and that's always been on home soil. Hence the fact that it was in Rio a couple of years ago in the 89 competition that they clinched their 4th victory. But although, as I say, the Brazilians have disappointed a little bit in recent years in World Cups, not since 1970, and we've seen them win the foremost trophy in world football. I always, in particular, get a buzz when you see those famous yellow shirts out on the field, and very rarely are you that disappointed by a Brazilian team. Bolivia in the green shirts and white shorts, attacking from left to right in the first half. And alongside me, the former Northern Ireland international, captain in the World Cup of 1982. In fact, I think you may have actually played the Brazilians at some stage then, did you, Martin O'Neill?
Way back, Alan, 1973, when an All-Ireland select side, you know the political problems of Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, but an All-Ireland select side played in Dublin against the travelling band of Brazilian players in that time, 1973. It was a year before the 74 World Cup. And I tell you, if they had played the World Cup in 73, Brazil would have won it easily. We played the game. They beat us 4-3. How we got 3 goals against them, I never know. But I tell you what, one of the goals that a fella called Paulo Cesar scored from a free kick against the great Pat Jennings was one of the goals of the century. It was like a boomerang. I tell you, in all honesty, if there was no net there, and it would have come back to him. It was such a goal.
Free kicks are one of the trademarks, of course, of Brazilian players. If things aren't going right for them in open play, they are as dangerous as any teams in the world when they get a free kick. And we look forward to seeing what they can produce in this, their first appearance in the Copa América 1991.
I may never get another chance to say it, but my big claim to fame is that I got hold of Clodoaldo's shirt at the end of that game, who was one of the great midfield players, the Brazilian of the great 70s side.
Does he realise you've got it?
He hasn't got a clue. He didn't know who I was. He thought I was stealing it.
Well, here you go Bolivia, just as adventurously as they did in that opening match against Uruguay. They seem to be the kind of side that isn't fearful of reputations. They showed that against Uruguay, and hopefully they'll continue to show it here tonight against Brazil. If they do, then we could be in for one of the games of the tournament. Mauro Silva in midfield for the Brazilians, and the clearance by Ferrufino only reaches another Brazilian, Mazinho. But they got it back again with Sanchez, Erwin Sanchez, and a good ball to the ever-dangerous Echeverri, who had a very good game in that opening match. Looks strong, left-footed player, just 20. Big and burly and always willing to take players on. I don't know how significant it is, but during the last year, Brazil have won the South American Under-17 and Under-20 championships. So it looks as though their future's in good hands. Remains to see what the senior team of the moment will do. And certainly that was a good challenge by Ricardo Rocha. And Brazil go forward menacingly here with a lot of players. And a useful looking ball for Careca. And problems straight away for Bolivia. That could be a penalty. And I'm sure that'll be the referee's verdict. Careca sent the ball spinning into the penalty area. The Bolivian defence were not concentrating. The goalkeeper Barrero came out, took the forward's legs, and the referee was quite right in awarding a penalty. He made a little bit of a meal of it, perhaps, but I don't think, Martin O'Neill, there can be much question that that was a penalty.
There was no doubt whatsoever. A definite penalty kick. The goalkeeper's come at it very clumsily. Instead of going very bravely down and diving at his feet, he's gone sideways at it and almost stamped on the Brazilian forward as he tries to get round it. But a definite penalty, and if they convert it, it's a great start for Brazil.
Less than 2 minutes gone, in fact, when the referee's whistle sounded. Barrero, who's only come into the side tonight, he replaced Aragón, who had a very good game against Uruguay. Was injured, though, in that game. And those two had been vying for first choice, but what an awful start for Barrero, making that unnecessary challenge, although he may feel that a goal would have resulted anyway. And it looks like Neto, the man who's really in form, scoring goals regularly, 4 in his last 3 internationals, to face Barrero from the penalty spot. A lot of whistles and cheers from the crowd as he steps up, but no mistake. What a start for the holders, Brazil, and Falcão, their new coach. The captain's given Brazil the lead, and when they get in front, not many teams come back. It's a very, very early stage of the game, but Falcão will encourage them now to calm down and build on their lead. Excellent penalty.
Yeah, stuck it in very, very well. But what a great start for them. As we see the penalty being scored, he stuck it in superbly into the corner. But it was a dilemma for the goalkeeper. It's one of those situations, Alan, where when he's made his mind up to come, I think he's got to come the whole way, but come bravely. As I say, don't dive in with your feet. Having said that, just clear. Having said that, it's a situation when he's made his ground towards the forward. I think perhaps he could have just held up, and he made the forward's mind up for him and just hold up there, because the forward still had to go round him at the end of the day, and there was a possibility of 1 or 2 Bolivian defenders getting back onto the goal line. But disappointing start, as you say, for Barrera, because Aragón, who started the competition as second choice, was pushed in obviously for perhaps maybe Barrera's lack of form. I'm not terribly sure, but Aragón was simply superb against Uruguay. And I think I was a little bit harsh on him, because he got injured about 10 minutes to go. I thought he was lying down taking the applause for playing so well in the game, but obviously hasn't recovered.
And I wonder if Bolivia can recover from this. They took the lead, remember, in that match against Uruguay, and held on to it as well till the second half. But it's a wholly different proposition they face now. A goal down against the Copa América reigning champions, the mighty Brazil. Castillo trying to calm them down, and the experienced captain Melgar in midfield doing the same, but then they give the ball away again, and you can't afford to do that against Brazil too often. Neto with the through ball over the defence, but a bit too deep. Saldías retrieving it and finding Melgar again. Number 16 is Sanchez. Dispossessed, but fouled in the process.
It's nice to get a start like that. You're a goal up without really having worked for it.
And good skill here by Castillo. Had the ball taken off his toe, though, as he was shaping to shoot, but they have won it back again, now with Borja. Melgar helping it out to the left, and a cross-come shot that really ended up being neither. And Brazil break dangerously with João Paulo. And hopefully that will enable them to really settle and show us what they're made of here, Brazil. We've been disappointed so far with the displays of two of the pre-competition favourites. Argentina, who made their first appearance last night, and although they won comfortably against a poor Venezuelan side, they didn't really do enough to convince us. They looked like likely champions. And Uruguay, who've equally been disappointing in their two matches. So it's down to Brazil, perhaps, to show that they can hold on to their title. Echeverri, Melgar, Rimba playing it back to the captain, and then rather strangely Melgar giving it away.
Just to add to your point, Alan, about perhaps Argentina have been a little bit disappointing last night, despite beating Venezuela 3-0. The Chilean press are in absolute raptures about the Chilean performance against Peru, and they feel now that they've got an absolutely splendid chance of getting through.
Careca had a splendid chance of getting through then, as the referee played the advantage rule after that splendid run by Neto. But Echeverri, the opposite number 10, bringing Bolivia onto the attack. It's a game that started at a noticeably faster pace than we've been used to in this competition. There's certainly no early caution being shown by either side here. And I must say, Bolivia do warm your heart, because many weaker teams in competitions like this seem to be a little bit overawed by opponents with a superior reputation and defend in depth. But Bolivia don't seem to take that philosophy at all, and they come out to attack. That's really good to see.
They played brilliantly for long spells in the game against Uruguay. They got tired and they defended badly at inopportune moments. But I feel that perhaps they were the team that needed the goal start against Brazil, I suppose, to give them confidence. But they don't look as if they lack in confidence anyway at the minute.
Bolivia, winners of the Copa América only once, their greatest day in their football history back in 1963, when they beat Paraguay in La Paz on home soil. But in the first 5 seasons they enter the competition, they failed to manage a single win in 25 matches. They have improved immensely since then, though. Renato's clearance, picked up here by Mazinho. And plenty of bite in the early challenges here. Melgar forcing it through to Castillo. It's a game with more of a European flavour about it at the moment. A lot of crunching tackles and the ball being fizzed about at great pace, rather than the slow, languid build-up that perhaps European spectators would typify as the South American approach. Cool evening, so we haven't got the blazing heat perhaps that many of these players are used to performing in. 11 minutes gone, Brazil leading 1-0. The goal coming very early on from the penalty spot, scored by Brazil's captain Neto. Bolivia have settled down well. Sorry, Martin, I was going to say since then.
I think it's important for the nation of Brazil to get a good footballing side again. They haven't had a decent side in 10 years. I happen to believe that the '82 World Cup was the best side that they had since 1970, and they were desperately unlucky to lose to Italy in the quarter-finals in Spain. But since that, they've had a mediocre side. They've always been strong, but there's been no real genuine flair in the team. Perhaps maybe this might be the turning point for the next 3 or 4 years for them.
This is Mazinho for Brazil. Plays his football like many of this squad in the Italian league, for Lecce in his case. And as he played it forward offside, so Borja, the 34-year-old general of things in midfield, in possession for Bolivia. Forward to the captain, Melgar. And Borja again. As you were saying, Brazil haven't had a really successful national team for a long time now, and by all accounts their domestic league is in a state of disarray. They need the encouragement of a good Copa América here. Castillo rolling in apparent agony after that challenge, which has produced a yellow card. The first of the game. Castillo already with a huge bandage around his thigh. And let's see if perhaps the injury and the tackle was quite as bad as he made it appear. Mazinho is the culprit. Taffarel standing, leaving most of the goal unguarded. I'm sure he'll move in a moment, though. As Echeverri lines up the shot. And not a bad effort. And it's as well that Taffarel did readjust his position, although ironically the ball did go to that same side. That was a good shot by the left-footed Echeverri. Good free kick, Brazilian style.
It's an excellent shot. He's been a very impressive player. He played exceptionally well against Uruguay, and he's got into the game early on here. That will give him a wee bit of confidence, but he's not a man that seems to need a bit of confidence. He's out in the field. He's a lovely left-footed player, very, very neat and tidy, got explosive pace, and has well, certainly caused Uruguay a lot of problems early on in that game. I think he could do the same here tonight.
Ferrufino with a good-looking through ball, neatly nodded down, but João Paulo there to intercept. And the Bolivians continue to convince you that they'll give Brazil a game here. Coming up to a quarter of an hour gone, Brazil leading 1-0. Mazinho spreading play out to that far side. Back it goes to the goal scorer and captain Neto. He tries to spread it back and does so. João Paulo down the line. Mazinho holding up, realising that the throw was his best bet there as we get confirmation of the Brazilian 11. The Careca concern, incidentally, is not the more famous of the three Carecas, in fact, who've all won international honours for Brazil. You may know that as we look at the Bolivian lineup in Brazil, the Portuguese style of family names is to have several, 6 or 7 is not unusual, and they settle on a surname, and that's the name they're usually known by, so that's why we sometimes get more than one player with a similar name. Branco is only one of those, as far as I know. One of the most, in fact, the most experienced player in the Brazilian squad with over 40 caps.
He's got a murderous free kick as well.
And a murderous little challenge then on João Paulo from Rimba. Another player who's got a reputation for free kicks, João Paulo, and another who plays in Italy for Bari in his case. Mazinho, and they do like to get width into their play as often as they can, the Brazilians.
It's the first time, Alan, I've actually been disappointed that a goal has been scored in this competition. I've got a soft spot for Bolivia, and I think that they need it. They were a goal behind before they'd even settled in the match. I would have preferred they to get the first goal. It's not to be, but they're far from out of it at the moment.
Yes, well, there's certainly there's no suggestion that they are likely to fall apart from the disappointment of conceding that early goal. But here's the man who unwittingly caused it, I'm afraid. Borja, the replacement for the goalkeeper Aragón, who played in the first game. Echeverri winning the header, but no support. Mazinho. And he ran into a good position to get it back. Saldías came in with the challenge. Brazil's throw. And good control by Mauro Silva. Number 7 there is Renato. And it was a bit of a 50-50 situation there. Difficult one for the referee. He made his mind up, and the free kick was instantly taken by Brazil.
I thought it was good refereeing as well. Allowed the play to go on, try and keep it moving. Despite the fact that the free kick itself wasn't all that accurate.
Neto, the goal scorer, 24-year-old, who's currently one of the big stars of Brazilian football, goes across to take the kick. And again, he has to, with no great ceremony, move the photographer's baggage out of the way. A good-looking kick, and the goalkeeper had to come and claim that, and was fouled as he did so. And he'll be happy that he heard the whistle then. So although he did well for a ball he had to really come and claim as his, he pushed it down into a dangerous area. Lucasade Sport, one of the sponsors, helping to bring this live and exclusive coverage of the Copa América into your homes.
I thought he didn't do badly there, because it was important he got some sort of touch on it just so soon after causing the goal in the first place, which was certainly causing the penalty. And he had to get some touch by hook or by crook. He managed to palm it out anyway, despite the fact he was fouled.
Good play by Ferrufino. And this is Sanchez. A lot of space to operate down that left flank. And a useful little ball, but poor control gets Brazil back in possession again with Neto. And a good ball by him to Careca. João Paulo just showing the ball to the defender, and then went the side he wasn't expecting. He's looking appealingly towards the referee, but it's only going to be a throw-in, I think. Now the Bolivians are arguing, saying that if it was a throw at all, it should have been a throw for us. I think Brazil were expecting a free kick, and a bit of confusion here about what he has given. Well, this is all a bit petulant. But I must say, I thought at first it was either going to be a free kick to Brazil or a throw-in to Bolivia. I'm not quite sure what the referee's come up with at the end of it all.
Well, it looks as if he's coming for a corner. Yeah. Third choice.
Corner it is, and Neto caused problems from the other side with his previous corner. Lovely to see a player who can take corners on both sides of the field, in swinging or out swinging. And a good-looking one, and that could have been really dangerous. Cafu keeping it in play. But a bit too strong the cross.
In their first game against Uruguay, Bolivia had a few problems in the air as well, despite the fact that Ferrufino looks about 6'8". And the goal itself, despite it was a deflection eventually, the Uruguayan goal against them. But it was poor defending. They had enough bodies back in the penalty area, they just couldn't get it away. And Brazil are trying to test them out in this.
Free kick to Brazil. Branco pushing it forward, a good-looking ball for João Paulo, and the cross was knocked away first time.
It's very early yet to say whether this is a great Brazilian side. But I'll tell you what they have inherited, the old Brazilian strength of all the great sides. Really strong running players, powerful legs, and people who just niggle at you all the time, seem to get their body there just when you think that you've tipped the ball away from them. They've got the body in and they're moving again.
But midway, or almost midway through the first half here, and Brazil lead Bolivia by 1-0, a penalty by Neto. Branco. João Paulo is the target for one or two dubious challenges. Branco with the free kick then for Brazil. And it looks dangerous, but headed on into the wrong area as it happened. Just noticed, incidentally, we were told, our information was that Barreiro had come in goal for Bolivia in place of Aragón, and that's naturally the information we went on. But I noticed the goalkeeper is wearing 22, which was Aragón's number in the first match, and not number 1, which is Barreiro's number. Information can be a little bit inconsistent in this part of the world, so perhaps we'll double-check that one. I didn't see the Bolivians in that first game, Martin. All goalkeepers look the same to me anyway.
No, certainly doesn't look like Aragón.
Whoever it was, Neto certainly dispatched the penalty very cleanly past him to give Brazil their lead here. They haven't managed a shot in anger since then. As Mauro Silva hits the ball again out to that right-hand side. Underlining the fact, as I was saying, that when they can, they get the ball wide at every occasion. Neto looks very strong in possession. And here's Branco. And gets it back. That's lovely 1-2 football from the Brazilians. Bit of an unlucky bounce then for Branco as he was challenged by Rimba. Rimba, who produced the cross for the excellent goal scored by Juan Suarez, by which Bolivia took the lead against Uruguay. João Paulo in strongly. The referee has whistled again. And a goal kick the outcome. Good downward header by Ricardo Rocha. And now Borja. Referee seems a little bit too keen to whistle at times. Not helping the flow of the game. 20 minutes to half-time. Brazil 1, Bolivia 0. That's great running by João Paulo. And a good little through ball at the end of it. Now, was that a foul by Saldías? The referee has said no, as Careca went down.
I think he was right as well, too.
Good ball down the right again as Brazil threaten once more from the flanks. And the goalkeeper, who we do now believe is Aragón, so we were given wrong information when we were told it was Barreiro. But pretty certain it is the man who played in the first game. So until we hear to the contrary, we will assume that it is Aragón, and it was therefore his mistake that led to Brazil's penalty. Once again, when you think the referee might just allow play to go on with a team in possession, although a foul probably had happened, he whistled and is making the play a little bit bitty here. And there's every promise that if the teams are allowed to play, we'll see some good football. Rimba. Well won by Mauro Silva. A good little layoff too from Renato. Now Branco. Ran into trouble. Rimba stood his ground well. And that's a useful ball as well for Suarez. But he held on to possession too long. Renato helping it back to Taffarel, who's just had that one save to make from Echeverry's free kick.
it's an important stage of the game here for Bolivia, because Brazil are just finding a rhythm for themselves, being able to find men very, very easily, comfortable at taking the ball with men up at their backsides. And I just think Bolivia haven't been able to get the ball comfortably for a moment or two. It's vital that they get a grip of it.
Now the referee does allow an advantage. Branco with a left-footed ball. Lovely ball. Careca has come away from his marker to find space on the right. Saldías is beaten, but not the second defender. Sanchez, who came to help out. Throw in to Brazil. Cafu will take it on the far side. One of the new players. Careca trying to get it back to him and doing very well, and wins the corner off Saldías. When Falcão first took over as coach, as we thank Adidas, our other major sponsor, for our coverage here of the Copa América. When Falcão first took over as Brazilian coach, he was apparently told not to pick any overseas-based players, but they've gone back on that ruling, as that wicked corner, I think, hit the roof of the net rather than being tipped there by the goalkeeper.
Tell me this, Alan, can you see, does that goalkeeper have a moustache?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe it is our old friend Aragón there. I'll stand by what I said, he's still a good goalkeeper, so I'm now changing my mind. I'm going to blame the defenders for that penalty.
Don't worry, you'll never know. Mauro Silva, Branco.
You mean you won't get to hear our comments about it?
Not out there, I wouldn't think so. It's unlikely. Good play here, Renato. But it all seems to be a little bit crowded up in the middle third of the field here, and as soon as anybody does start to make a run, they quickly run into trouble. Doesn't seem to be a lot of space out there.
No, there doesn't. Brazil were getting a lot of joy early on from being able to knock the ball wide, and but at the minute it's just a bit of a melee in the middle of the field.
Borja for Bolivia. Good work by Ricardo Rocha. Back now to Mazinho. João Paulo, ever willing and free to receive the ball, but he'll have to do a bit better with it than that. Brazil, a reminder, holders of the Copa América trophy. They beat Uruguay 1-0 with a goal by Romario, one of the absent players, playing in Europe, of course, in the '89 final in Rio, and that ended a wait of 40 years to get their name back on the trophy, and brought Brazil their first major football prize since the 1970 World Cup final. Somewhat surprising, really. Gottardo gets it back to Taffarel. Another one playing his club football in Italy.
What is Falcao's final position on the European-based players? Is he allowed to have them again?
Yes, apparently they reached a compromise because the early results when he took over were not good at all.
Yes. 1-1 and 9.
Yeah, and I think he went something like 7 matches before recording his first win, and stated his case again that it simply is not doing anyone any good not picking them, and so he has been able to, and obviously he's got several of them in the squad here. "32 minutes gone here in the first half in Viña del Mar, and Brazil lead Bolivia by 1-0. Surprisingly, the Bolivians look as though they're making an early substitution, unless there's been an injury we didn't spot. And as Cafu heads it away, Bolivia's throw. Renato big and strong, but couldn't win the ball in that challenge. It was Neto back to clear, but only as far as Saldías. It's a good layoff to Echeverri, and he's done well to beat the first defender and the second. Splendid run here. Oh, what a wonderful goal that could have been. It looked as though it was on its way in, and the crowd rise to that marvellous piece of skill that would have graced any Brazilian shirt.
He's got magnificent skill. He was just looking up here to see if he could find an outside right or inside right there to come to help him. When he realised there was nothing on his right-hand side, he decided to try the chip. But terrific piece of skill.
Well, that would have been one of the goals of the tournament if that had gone in. That was brilliant play.
That should give them a lift. What they were doing very well against Uruguay was that they were hunting in packs. There were 2 or 3 men going very quickly onto the Uruguayan players, certainly at their height of their good play. They've tended to sit back a little bit and allow Brazil to get into a pattern of the game. I think they should just try and close them down a little bit more, do the ugly side of the game a wee bit better, and they might get better results for it. They might be able to win 1 or 2 balls in important positions in the Brazilian half to give the likes of Echeverri and Sanchez, a few of them, a chance to get going. They most certainly possess skill when in possession.
I think they've definitely been the surprise team of the tournament so far, coming with a not great reputation. They have played some good football, and most importantly of all, as I was saying earlier, they haven't been overawed by supposedly superior opponents. Neto with a lovely ball down the line for Renato. Oh dear, that was an unpleasant tackle, and I think it'll be a yellow card. João Paulo had moved across from left to right and was brought down late when he'd already got round the defender. So the second booking of the game.
What we've noticed so far in the competition is any sign of cynicism at all in tackling. It's an immediate yellow card. I think it's not too bad as well, too. Not too bad, because the real nasty fouls are being cut out of the game. And if Uruguay can complete the match without a red card or a yellow card, then it's got to be good news.
Well, there's always a buzz of excitement when Brazil get a free kick. This looks, dare one say, a position in which it would be near impossible to get a shot on target, but we've seen them do that before. Oh, little trick this time. Oh! Well, it wasn't a shot on target from the initial free kick, and a bit of unpleasantness creeping in as Branco got himself involved with Castillo. But nonetheless, the shot from Branco that followed the little tapped free kick could well have tested out Aragón.
I thought it wasn't a bad idea. The execution just wasn't proper at the end, but it wasn't a bad idea at all.
Here they go again. Brazil with 4 or 5 men forward this time. But Mazinho couldn't reach it. That's good defending by Rimba. Just kept in play then by Castillo. Forward by the captain Melgar. And a neat little layoff. Good interception though at a vital moment by Ricardo Rocha. João Paulo couldn't reach it. Played 5 times against Brazil, Bolívia, and have managed a couple of wins, including a 5-4 victory in one of the famous games in the competition's history. In 1963, the season Bolivia actually won the competition. On another occasion, they let in 10 goals against the Brazilians. So it's got a reputation of being a high-scoring game in years gone by anyway. Sanchez, the player booked a few minutes ago, getting it forward. Suarez, dispossessed and fouled. 1-0 the score to Brazil. 8 minutes to go to half-time. Well, a Bolivian goal before the break would certainly liven up the second half here. And they look eminently capable of scoring one. Echeverri almost did. Not a bad free kick that. It must have caught the defenders in two minds. It was whipped in to that far post at a good angle.
It's a terrific free kick. And I'm surprised that teams like Bolivia don't try this a wee bit more often. It's put right across the penalty box. Anybody coming in there getting the slightest touch, there's every possibility of going into the net. Instead of just lobbing one in, which becomes a 50-50, which becomes a 70-30 ball, and in turn is generally clear. That type of ball is very, very dangerous.
It's even a defender getting a touch of that might well have sent it spinning into the net. Seven minutes to go to half-time. Castillo in possession for Bolivia. They trail 1-0. And a wasted opportunity then.
Despite the closeness of the free kick, in the last 10-15 years, well, we talk about the great Brazilian flair, the great attacking sides. I'll tell you what, one thing that they have done is they've tightened up defensively. Very, very tight. They don't concede too many goals. The record over the last few years, you'll look at it and see that I don't see them being beaten by 2s and 3s too often.
No, that's right. They may not be as exciting to watch as some of the Brazilian teams of old, but they've added a new dimension to their play. And they still have players marvellously gifted in possession.
I thought they were desperately unlucky in the World Cup against Argentina. They made most of the play, conceded a sloppy goal.
Yes, I was at that game. It was criminal, really, what happened that day, and I can remember the hundreds and hundreds of Brazilian supporters in the stadium in tears. They just couldn't believe they'd seen their team knocked out by the old enemy Argentina in a match in which they richly deserved to have won comfortably. And one of the great things about having Brazil in big competitions is not just the way they play, but their supporters, who always bring a special atmosphere to the stadium. Free kick here to Bolivia. Echeverri, who's looked their most dangerous player, swings it in, but this time far too close to Taffarel. And the best goalkeeper Brazil have had for a long, long time. As Martin was saying, they have had a reputation perhaps for defensive frailty in years gone by. The Brazilians have always got out of problems by having the ability to score goals from all over the field, and goalkeeper is one of the positions that gave them problems for many years since the great Ilmar used to play. But Taffarel looks the part, and to be signed by an Italian club as a goalkeeper underlines how good he is. Here's Careca. Poor ball by him. He was looking for João Paulo, who made the little run to the near post. Well, I must admit, this has not turned out as I expected. After that very early goal for Brazil, you rather got the impression that they might then really dominate, but all credit to Bolivia. They've lived with them since conceding the goal. Problem now, no offside. Mauro Silva took a little bit too long making his mind up, though. Castillo for Bolivia. Sometimes you think if they broke with just a bit more pace, they could cause a problem or two to Brazil. Saldías gets it back and was nudged over, I think, by Neto. And one of the features of this tournament so far is that the Chilean spectators have gone with the underdog. So they're really behind Bolivia here. 3 minutes to half-time. Bolivia a goal behind still. But in a threatening position here, they had a very good free kick from an almost identical place just a few minutes earlier. Same again by the looks of it. No, well, that was the intention, but he got it wrong this time.
that's two free kicks just wasted there by. I think the intention was the same as the last time that the ball was on that particular side, but Echeverri just wasted one about 2 minutes ago. You'd mentioned they'd gone a wee bit too close to the goalkeeper. I wouldn't even mind that so much if there was a little bit of pace in the ball, so somebody coming darting in might be able to get a touch. But those just have been too wasted in decent positions, because at the end of it all, that's where they're trying to get to.
Here's Ferrufino. Echeverri did well again, strong in possession. Here's the captain, Melgar. Chipped in and cleared by Gottardo. But they've got the Brazilians penned back at the moment. And they've got a throw. About a minute and a half of the first half remaining. Castillo in possession for Bolivia. They trail by 1-0 here in this Group B match, Brazil's opening game of the tournament. Brazil the holders. Jiguchi winning it back and finding Melgar, and that was a wasted ball again. Neto in possession. Branco. João Paulo. I think Brazil now happy to keep possession. They know that there's only about a minute to go in the first half. And that was a foul. Renato brought down. Well, I guess the story of the half has been a brilliant start for Brazil, which they haven't really built upon, although they've looked, obviously, as you'd expect, good in possession. They haven't looked that threatening in front of goal as yet. And Bolivia have more than held their own in this game. Here's Branco, though. Now Echeverri. João Paulo. We're now into time being added for stoppages. Ricardo Rocha for Brazil. Mauro Silva doing well. And here's that man again. Echeverri, he's looked the best player for me. Certainly the best Bolivian player in this first half. Players are being closed down so quickly in possession by both teams that the lack of space for players in possession has been the most noticeable feature of the half for me, as a free kick goes against Brazil here, and it's another good position for the Bolivians. And they won't want to waste this one, because we're now over a minute into time being added, and it's a marvellous opportunity. They've taken it quickly, perhaps too quickly, and it's hit the referee. And in any case, that is the half-time whistle. So the first 45 minutes here in Viña del Mar ends with Brazil leading Bolivia by just 1-0, an early goal at that, and the penalty by Neto after goalkeeper Aragón had given it away with a reckless early tackle. Brazil 1, Bolivia 0. More action to come in the second half, and the way Bolivia have been playing, Brazil have got a game on their hands yet.
Two live soccer matches a day on Screen Sport. Screen Sport Wednesday. We drive off the tee at 6 with USPGA.
This is Screen Sport, broadcasting via cable and satellite throughout Europe and the UK, 18 hours a day during the week and around the clock on weekends. For football with more flair, for motorsport with more grunt, for boxing with more punch, for golf with more drive. and constant action as it happens wherever it happens. We're cracking the whip with sport satellite by satellite. Screen Sport, more choice.
Well, they've installed new floodlighting here in Viña del Mar, but little to light up the night in the first half in this second match from Group B this evening. Brazil, with that early penalty, in the driving seat, leading Bolivia at the break by 1-0. But all in all, Martin, it's been a disappointment.
Well, Brazil got off to a stupendous start, Phil. They got a goal early on. They didn't play for it. They were a goal in front after 2 minutes, and just a goalkeeping mistake, I felt, at that particular stage. But Bolivia clawed their way into the game without looking fantastically dangerous themselves. They're nice ball players, they can do a little bit, but eventually I think they have really got to believe in themselves that they can try and break Brazil down. Brazil, for whatever, if you call it even lack of flair, still are very, very strong defensively.
They certainly don't seem overawed by the defending champions, but they just cannot get round the back.
They can't get round the back, that's absolutely right, Phil, and they've wasted a couple of decent free kicks as well, other than the fact that Echeverri had a terrific shot and goal, which was well saved by Taffarel. But that's been their only real shot of the afternoon. Well,
perhaps we expect so much from Brazil. Let's pick up the action then from the better moments from the first half. And if Bolivia had a game plan pre-kickoff, that would have been shredded inside the first 5 moments, because there was a penalty after just 4 minutes. A really tragic, well, mistake by Aragón, an error of judgment to have come.
That's exactly what it was, Phil, an error of judgment. He's come out, perhaps maybe still feeling the injury from the one that he received late on in the Uruguay game. Perhaps he just wasn't feeling right there. I think he's still a top-class goalkeeper, but he's approached it all wrong, and it was a definite penalty. And as I say, Brazil off to a super start. If we wanted the game to develop, you and I would have probably wanted Bolivia to have had the lead. But however, as you say, they've not been overawed. Despite the fact they haven't been overawed, I don't really believe they've got the killer instinct to go and win the game. And I think we mentioned this point against Uruguay. For all their lovely ability, they just don't have the killer.
Well, Captain Neto doesn't normally miss from the spot. Echeverri with the free kick, well held by Taffarel from long range. That was a good save by Taffarel.
Taffarel, he may not have been able to see it clearly. In fact, he didn't do. He got down well. It's a long distance away, and I think you'd be disappointed if he didn't hold on to it. There's an in-swinging corner kick. Goalkeepers just watched it go over, and flying around the goalpost, I see. But again, this was a magnificent move. Echeverri again, who's been the most skillful player that they on view, I would nearly say, was looking for a little bit of help, decided to go alone and tried to chip the ball into the corner, a la John Barnes, but failed to do so on this occasion.
Yes, indeed, a moment of inspired and improvised magic there. The closest Bolivia came to a goal in the first period.
I thought that wasn't a bad free kick, despite Branco getting into a bit of a fracas there at the end. Good idea. Bolivia thought that the first free kick would have been taken in their direction, and finally it was just touched on to Branco, who's had a shot wide of goal. That was a decent effort there for Bolivia. Whipped in, great bit of pace on the ball, and a possibility of trying to get the touch on there.
Let's have a look at the match statistics from the first half. Not too many goal attempts around so far. 9 Brazilian fouls to the 7 from Bolivia, so it certainly hasn't been one-sided by any means.
And again, we make mention of the number of offsides. That's encouraging, Phil. 2 offsides in the entire first half.
So, Bolivia perhaps still very much in with a shout with the second half to come. And Brazil will hope to improve on that 1-goal lead given them at the break by Neto, their captain. Falcão really does face a dilemma here. He's tried to build a team on home-based players. It hasn't worked. He's brought back the European exiles, and now he sees Brazil being criticised for playing too much safety first in the Italian style. Well, Falcão has sworn a return to the instinctive, unfettered...
Welcome back to Viña del Mar. I apologise if you're having a few problems, as we are, with the quality of the pictures from the stadium here. And we hope it settles down in time for the start of the second half of this match, in which Bolivia are all ready for action. The Brazilians just taking the field with a 1-goal lead, remember. Penalty conceded in the 3rd minute, or thereabouts, by Bolivia, by goalkeeper Aragón, and then converted by Neto. Have quite an interesting effect, this game, obviously, as Brazil's first appearance in the competition on the state of play for Falcao's team in Group B, where Colombia are the current leaders. They're 2 points. Uruguay, surprisingly, having played 2 matches, only have the same number of points, and Colombia lead on the goal difference of +1. Group A, meanwhile, has Chile with the maximum points and a good, healthy goal difference to their credit. Argentina with +3 goals, having just played that 1 game so far against Venezuela. And it looks as though having half-time substitution here. Suarez of Bolivia has gone off. There he is. And Valdivieso, I believe that is, number 21, has come on for Bolivia. I'm not sure whether the Brazilians might have made one as well there. Have another look at that in a moment, but Valdivieso on for Suarez, certainly for Bolivia. And they took Suarez, who was the goal scorer against Uruguay, off in that game as well in the 2nd half. Valdivieso is just 19. Still having a few problems with the quality of the pictures from Chile, and we hope it doesn't spoil your enjoyment as the 2nd half gets underway. Brazil with this incredible record in world football. They've been in all 14 final stages of the World Cup, the only nation in the world to have done so. 3 World Cup victories in 1958, 1962, and the last time in 1970. Their record in the Copa América, 97 games before tonight, 53 of them won, 16 drawn, and 28 lost. Perhaps not as good as you would expect for a nation who's done so well at the world stage. And they've never won the Copa América on foreign soil. All their wins have come in Brazil. Valdivieso for Suarez, the confirmation there on the caption of Bolivia's half-time substitution. And I'm pretty certain the Brazilians have made one as well. We'll try and check who's gone off for you in a moment as they attack again with João Paulo. Free kick given. And there it is, Rai, the substitute, who's come on for Brazil. So Aragón waiting in trepidation, no doubt, for this Brazilian free kick. Once again, it's a long way out. They haven't really had one in what you'd call a goal-scoring position yet, much to the goalkeeper's relief. Careca, incidentally, the player who's gone off for Brazil. Careca 2, as he's known. Oh, it's another Brazilian special. Did I say that was a position from which you couldn't score a goal? I should have known better. The Brazilians can score goals from free kicks from any position, and that was an absolute vintage strike. Unbelievable. It caught me, the goalkeeper, and the whole of the crowd here by surprise.
It's a superb strike by Branco. It's actually got a deflection, believe it or not, just off the wall. I'm surprised. They've been talking about how good the goalkeeper Aragón is, and it's been bent in there. He's done very badly, despite the fact that Branco has been taking free kicks from endless positions in the World Cup. Here he's lined up 35, 40 yards out. I think the goalkeeper should have stopped it.
Yes, and when you saw it again from behind the goal, you certainly took a deflection. I don't think it did. It just moved in the air, didn't it?
It just moved in the air.
Incredible. It looked like a deflection at first, but when you saw it again, it didn't. And you have to say that your friend Aragón, I'm afraid, was at fault again there. It certainly gave away the penalty and probably should have done better from that free kick, but an incredible distance out. It's absolutely outrageous, the things they will try. We know, of course, that Branco's got a world reputation for whacking those free kicks from all ranges and angles. But that was just, I mean, he should never have been able to score from
No, he should not. He shouldn't have been able to score. The ball bounces on the 6-yard box, and still, Interesting to see behind the goal. No, you're right, it's just moved. He's bent the ball with the outside of his foot. It's a terrific shot, there's no doubt about it, but the goalkeeper was terribly at fault.
Incredible goal, here he goes again.
But do you remember during the World Cup in Italy last year, where Branco was trying free kicks from almost any angle. I was surprised he wasn't taking goal kicks at the same time. But yeah, disappointing there, Aragón.
Well, Brazil have started the second half as they started the first, with a goal. One a penalty, the other a free kick. One from 12 yards, the second from, well, take your pick, 35 yards, I would say.
At least 35 yards, yes.
Incredible goal. And that's a foul. No, not given. Echeverri for Bolivia. That's a good ball as well. This could be a goal. He's pulled it back, Sanchez, but then he went down at the vital moment when it looked as if he'd just done the right thing to put it back into a shooting position. Castillo goes down, and they come back straight away here. Here's Sanchez again, trying to work himself into a shooting position. Now he's earned a free kick. Foul by Mauro Silva.
They've got to get into the game now. They've really got to do it. If they allow another 10 minutes to develop, it's a 2-0. Well, Brazil should coast it.
Yeah, we saw Echeverri trouble Taffarel in the first half of the free kick. This is a better position. And he's come across intending to take it to number 10. So, essentially a left-footed player. It may not be the best kind of angler. I don't know. I've given up guessing what the South Americans can do from free kicks. I think they could score from a halfway line if they had to. If it's a free kick, you've got to say it's a scoring chance. But this time, not one of his better ones. But going back to Branco's free kick, it was outrageous is the only word you can use to even consider trying to strike on target from that range and angle. Well, most people just wouldn't consider it.
I suppose he's pleased to have confidence in himself to try it.
So Brazil leading Bolivia now by 2-0. And that's the substitute. Right. Neto with the free kick, almost sneaked through. And now the captain Melgar for Bolivia. And as Martin O'Neill was saying, they really do need to get a goal in the next 10 minutes or so here, but if they don't, you can see Brazil going on to win this one comfortably. Castillo twists and turns, has the ball taken off him, but a free kick hasn't resulted. He thought he got it, but he hasn't.
I still can't believe the goal.
I can't.
I played in front of two of the very, very best goalkeepers in the world, Pat Jennings at international level and Peter Shilton for a number of years at Nottingham Forest, and I've just given up now in goalkeeping. I really have. I say to my lads, I know nothing about it. No, absolutely nothing about it. If they hold on to the ball, they're brilliant. If they drop it, they're useless. And Aragón, after me giving him incredible comments, I was talking to you about it, how good I thought he was. Not only could I not recognise him, but I don't think he's recognised his own performance tonight.
No, perhaps they have sneaked the other fellow in a different jersey. Quickly taken free kick. Too quickly, says the referee. He's been a bit fussy, this referee. It may have marginally moved, or perhaps he wasn't quite ready, but you are supposed to get an advantage from free kicks. Well, I think Echeverri's going to try and do a Branco here. Not a bad effort, was it? Taffarel watched it all the way. He had plenty of time to see it coming. But nonetheless, again, it was a decent strike of the ball from that range. Gottardo was the player just before that caution for the foul. Brazil lead Bolivia 2-0 in this Group B game. Brazil have to play Uruguay next on Thursday, the 11th of July. And then on Saturday, they meet Colombia. And on the following Monday, Ecuador. All the matches in this stadium, every one of them. It's got to be an advantage for them. Good little turn there by Castillo. Got away from the defender well. Sanchez gets it back again. Looking for the free kick, I thought, a little bit there. The referee has whistled as he challenged Mauro Silva. And it's Brazil who get the free kick, not Bolivia, to their disappointment. Not been best impressed with the referee tonight, in all honesty. Very rarely am, to be fair.
I was just about to say that. I think he hasn't done too bad.
All relative. It's a good ball forward. João Paulo controlling it nicely. Rimba takes it off him. And they continue to play their nice, neat football, Bolivia. Whatever happens to them here, you've got to say they've done well enough in their 2 matches so far to suggest that they've got the makings of a side for the future, perhaps. A reasonably young side as well. They went close to qualifying for the Italian World Cup after a couple of very good home wins against Uruguay and Peru. But they eventually lost out to Uruguay on goal difference. They've been to the World Cup finals just twice in their history, 1930 and 1950. Lost every game, didn't score a single goal. And are obviously one of the weaker of the South American nations. But they've entertained here, and that's important. And Borja hears the whistle go, and once again, Brazil get the benefit of the doubt.
I've got to agree with you in that decision. I thought it was very, very harsh. Brazilians tried to come over the top to the Bolivian forward and has been given a free kick for his efforts.
Danger now, Renato, but he played the ball to the wrong man. I'm sure he thought he had his own player up in support then. Saldías gets it back to goalkeeper Aragón, who's had an unhappy night. It's a good ball. Echeverri, Gottardo right behind him. Saldías. And their play just around the opposition penalty area hasn't been as impressive as their build-up, really. Bolivia, that is. Renato's layoff. And Rai, the substitute, running into trouble and then trying to wrestle his way out of it again. Melgar. Saldías. Castillo hugging the left touchline. 2 defenders immediately come across to cover, and he's won the throw. Melgar looking for Castillo again, and that's crossed the line for a throw. They've been a bit unlucky on both of those. They could have had a corner each time, but only got the throw in. It's a foul, certainly. I don't really know why Sanchez was complaining about that. Coming up to 13 minutes gone in the second half then here in Viña del Mar in this Group B match. Brazil leading Bolivia by 2-0. Sanchez, Castillo. And Echeverri had made a good run in the middle then, but they couldn't get the ball through to him. And at the moment, Bolivia are having one of their best periods of the game. Brazil have just gone into their shell a little bit. Rimba on the attack for the Bolivians.
certainly in terms of possession they are, but again, their final ball, how often have we said it before? I mean, I know it's the most difficult thing in the world to score a goal, and it's obviously difficult to get into someone's penalty box unattended. But Bolivia, for all their lovely midfield work, approach play is very, very nice. Eventually, there's just no real fizz about their game.
Well, let's see if Sanchez can provide some, though. Given away. Cafu easily able to make the interception. Free kick to Brazil. And another substitution for Bolivia.
I've just taken a moment or two to study the sides that we've seen playing. And if you consider that the two big nations, Argentina and Brazil, have very obvious chances because of their great depth, I suppose their ability, everything that they have going for them, tradition. You would say that Chile have performed as well as any of them. And the only thing I do think is that if you're strong defensively, as I think Brazil are, then you've always got a chance of winning games, albeit only 1-0 or whatever it may be, but you've always got a chance.
Brazil leading 2-0 here. Cafu in possession. Useful cross, but well dealt with by the Bolivian defence.
Argentina, on the other hand, have got a couple of forward players, Canija and La Torre, who definitely on the day are capable of winning matches on their own. Perhaps maybe if they survive defensively, they have those players who are capable of doing it. So far, I haven't seen enough flair in the Brazilian forwards.
Here goes Saldías for Bolivia. Good little ball to his captain, Melgar. Incidentally, you will have seen they brought on another substitute, Bolivia, Peña, the number 19, coming on in place of Borja, number 7. Cafu doing well for Brazil, but then 3 Bolivians descended upon him. And play has gone back to the rather untidy midfield scramble that we had early on here. Our coverage brought to you in association with our major sponsors, including Lucasade. Castillo with the through ball. And Peña, the latest substitute, getting it back to him again. And a good run down the right by Rimba. Cross was a bit too flat, though. And there was a claim for handball then by Bolivia. Not a very realistic one. João Paulo gets away from his defender. He's done well here, and that was a cynical foul. Now, in different circumstances, in different countries, he could be in deep trouble for that deliberate trip on a player who was on his way to goal. He's got a yellow card for it, and I've seen in some of the European leagues players sent off for that, or worse, or not worse, I was going to say for less than that, because there was no doubt his man had beaten him. He wasn't exactly in a goal-scoring position, but he did have a player in the middle who was. Certainly deserved the yellow card, as Brazil now are going to make a substitution.
I'm beginning to think you're absolutely right about the referee. That was the one foul in the game that deserved a sending off. And if they're being strict, if they're cutting down on offences very early on in the game by giving yellow cards for deserved offences, then that was a sending off offence. Yes, certainly in England, we take the point now that he's bearing down in goal. He's gone clear of the defence. Well, what constitutes a sending off offence? If it was the Football League, he would have gone.
I think you're right. They're waiting to bring on another substitute here. Mazinho 2 coming on. As we look again at the incident, Jiguchi, the player who was beaten here, beaten all ends up as well, and he knew it at that point, and he knew there was a player in the middle in a good position. He had to do something, and so he took the player's leg at the shin. It's hurt him sufficiently to have the stretcher brought on. And João Paulo is an exciting player, the kind of player that spectators come to watch, has gone off because of a cynical foul. And you have to say Jiguchi is a lucky man that he's not gone off as well.
Yes, I know we've got the benefit of seeing it in replay, but it was a terrible challenge.
I mean, even in a harmless position, that would have been a bad foul, but in what was a position of danger to Bolivia, it comes under the heading of cynical. Justice would be done if Brazil could get something out of this. Normally justice isn't done in these situations. Neto will take the free kick and kills it in delightfully, and Aragón dealt with that uncomfortably as well. It just prevented the corner, just. That was a wicked one.
Was. Good free kick. Didn't know what the goalkeeper was doing at it. He didn't know whether he could hold it.
So he didn't
touch
prevent
it over
the
the
corner.
bar.
Yep. Corner it is. Neto again takes it, and that's a beauty into the near post, headed away well. Back into that group of players, it could go anywhere, and that's a delightful little chip, and there was a push in the middle, and that should have been a penalty, surely. As Renato played it back in, there seemed to me a clear push in the back on the Brazilian player, but it's gone, and the referee has allowed play to go on. Peña in possession. We'll get back to that incident, hopefully, when we have a break in the play, as Renato plays it forward again. But they're back in possession with Jiguchi, and then he gives it away to Mazinho. We've got Mazinho 1 and Mazinho 2 on now. Jiguchi shown the yellow card. Many would feel it should have been red. That was for the earlier incident on João Paulo, who has gone off on a stretcher. Cafu gets it back. Dangerous cross. Oh, and he was just headed away by Mazinho too from his own player, ironically. But still danger. Renato in a good position, and it just eluded him. Brazil looking increasingly dangerous now. Out of play off Gottardo. Here's that incident again, Martin. It's the play in the middle we need to watch.
Yes, it is. I'm going to come out with a real Irish one here. That is a definite penalty. It's a definite penalty. But in many instances, referees won't give it. They won't give it. Brazil are sitting 2-0 up here. It's a bone of contention. They're leading 2-0. I think there's just a bit of sympathy now at the minute for, by the referee for the Bolivians, and it's one of those incidents where you think, well, I'll be able to get away with that. I'll claim that it was 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. It's a definite penalty.
Certainly a nudge in the back, but not given. Pardon me. Brazil still leading 2-0. Neto in possession, the first half goal scorer from the penalty spot. Branco with a stunning free kick, scored the second. Renato trying to weave his way through, but there was no way through that line of 3 defenders. Renato again causing problems, kept going for that one. Bolivia need to be up to their end, really. Yeah, they're in disarray at the moment. They've not played half as well. I'll accept that the opposition has been much better. Brazil are very, very strong, but they have not played half as well as they did against Uruguay. And even in periods in the Uruguay game, they went to sleep as well. They've not been able to get hold of the ball. Brazil are too strong for them, and they've lost an awful lot of heart. Alan Rai, the substitute, plays for the Sao Paulo club, one of the major clubs in the Brazilian league. Back it comes to Neto, and there could be a third goal here. There should have been. Mazinho 2, as he is known, shakes his head in disbelief, and I think his coach will be doing something worse than shaking his head at that miss. Should have done well. Should have done better there. He's got the chance there of half volleying the ball into the net. It's fallen very, very kindly for him, and that could have been the third goal. The 25-year-old, having been on about, 10 minutes or so, has missed a good chance there to make it 3-0. And a chance at the other end, perhaps, for Bolivia. Taffarel saving well from their substitute. Peña. Good little skill. Yeah. No real sting in the shot at the end. And Taffarel well placed to save. And Argentina's 3-0 victory over Venezuela, the biggest winning margin, although Chile have got 4 goals, of course, in one of their games, but 3-0 the biggest winning margin we've had as yet. I wonder if Brazil can match that. Right. Done well, and that's a nice little ball for Renato. Good defending that. Rimba got through and whipped it off his toe, although Renato was perhaps a little bit slow. (2-0) the score, 20 minutes to go. So a lot of football still to be played in this competition, but I suppose if you're a betting man at this stage, you'd be looking at Chile with their home advantage and their undoubted good side and ability to score goals, and the Brazilians to be the fancied two, perhaps, at this stage. Martin, would you agree?
Yeah, in their particular group, very much so. I think, as I mentioned earlier, I think Brazil will be always hard to beat. They may not score an awful lot of goals. The 2 goals today have been a free kick that should have been avoided and a penalty kick. But they are hard to beat. They're hard to break down. And better sides than Bolivia have found it very difficult to do that. I think that's something Brazil have learned.
It's certainly a definite fact in these big international competitions. You can go back over all the recent World Cups and think that the team that's eventually won the World Cup, in the case of that particular tournament, haven't started that impressively. Remember Italy in '82 and in Argentina even in '86. West Germany they start steadily, they pace themselves. That's usually the type of team that wins these big competitions, and they save their better football till the end. Good little ball through, and that was a very ambitious effort. Haven't seen that much of Mauro Silva in those positions. The anchorman in midfield getting forward for once. Took it well on the chest and an acrobatic effort.
You're right, he hasn't been in the penalty box very often, but he is a very, very strong player. Sturdy legs. I think he's gone about his job very, very quietly, but has really given nothing away. He's a nice passer of the ball, and I think he's been one of their better players, Brazil.
Saldías for Bolivia. They're 2-0 down here, and needing the inspiration of a breakthrough goal. And Saldías provide it. It went the wrong way, really. Ran straight into Cafu and straight into trouble. Renato. Brazil playing their way well out of that. He's big and strong, this lad. Ran through about 3 tackles there and delivered an excellent ball as well. Now, if they can get players in the box to support Mazinho here, maybe he won't need the support. Oh, dear. What an incredible miss. Well, it is a cliche to say it had to be harder to miss than to score, but there is no finer description of that incident. That was beyond belief. How did he miss it?
I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. We're just about to say, but that was a terrific move. It's incredible. And he himself is just, it's a matter of tapping the ball into the net. My word. My word.
I've seen a free kick that I couldn't believe, and I've now seen a miss from Rai, the substitute, that is equally astonishing. I mean, he could have fallen over, he could have thrown his shirt at the ball, taken his shoes and socks off and still got it in. He had plenty of time, although there was a defender coming in.
He was so casual about it, though. It was just a matter of just stepping up and he's tapping it in.
Incredible miss. It was a great run as well, and a lovely ball by Renato, wasn't it, just before that? Here he is. He's done splendidly here.
Renato's made a brilliant move. But funnily enough, it was all started by Silva winning a ball that he had no right to win. And we watched Ray just coming straight through. It's one of those.
Did he get it over the bar? I would imagine if you gave him that opportunity about 1,000 times in his career, he'd score 999 goals.
I remember Gary Birtles. We were playing in a very important FA Cup game against Arsenal at the City Ground, and Gary Birtles for Forest missed a goal quite similar to that. He was, mind you, he had an excuse because it was onto his right foot and he was a left-footed player, but he missed from the same distance, and I didn't think I would wait another 15 years to see another miss like it.
Castillo going forward well here. It's a splendid run by the Bolivian. Sanchez. Bit ambitious, that shot. Telling you a little story there about Gary Birtles. I suppose Brian Clough was very sympathetic to him missing from that range, wasn't he?
Especially since Frank Stapleton scored 3 minutes afterwards to knock us out of the competition.
He said, what, hard luck, Gary, or something like that, did he?
Something like that. Yeah. We watch it again. Yeah. I still can't believe it. I'm waiting. Well, he'll, as you say, he'll never get an easier opportunity in his life.
You could look for a million excuses, and there isn't one. I mean, it didn't bobble. He couldn't have taken his eye off it.
Do you know what? It makes me feel really good because a Brazilian has actually missed from a yard and a half out with an empty goal.
They are human. There could be a goal from this attack, but Neto took his time. Well, when they look back on the highlights of this competition, that miss has to go in amongst them. Still 2-0. Quarter of an hour to go. Adidas, one of the co-sponsors, helping us to bring you this coverage of the Copa América 1991. We're watching Brazil in Group B, favourites of course in that group, and the holders of the title beating Bolivia by 2-0. Bolivians have played well in patches of the game and patches of the field, but never well enough to really trouble Brazil. And their goalkeeper there, who gave away a penalty and was at fault in conceding a free kick, has not had a happy night. Nor indeed has Mr. Rai, whose miss I suspect will be seen quite a few times over on the endless TV stations in Brazil. Here he is. I think he'd be quite happy to go off at the moment. That must be preying on his mind. And you think Pele nearly scored once from the halfway line. But it just gone out.
Despite them, Alan, despite it, really couldn't get that word out. But despite the miss, I think there are signs in the last 10 or 15 minutes that Brazil are just beginning to find their feet, beginning to find the passing movements, that little bit of flair that all great Brazilian sides possess. They're just beginning to find it. Obviously the confidence of a 2-goal lead. They can disregard that miss by Ray, but it makes no difference. But just signs that things are coming together for them.
Here's Melgar for Bolivia. Peña couldn't control it. Back it comes, though, to Castillo. Castillo again. But they're running a bit short of ideas now, Bolivia. So Brazil safely on their way to their expected 2 points in their opening game. And there could be another goal here for Renato if he can get there. Good defending. Ferrufino whipped the ball away as the big and strong Renato was threatening. Here's Echeverri. bit unlucky there. He hit his own player on the back. Peña. I'd like to see another Brazilian goal now. Just to round it off. And there was another naughty foul, really. And perhaps we will. Branco brought down. Branco, no doubt, will take the free kick. This is a piece of cake, really, considering the distance he scored from early on in the half. And Aragón will be quaking in his boots.
It was Jiguchi, the culprit again, in the free kick. I think the referee took one quick look at his jersey, looked down at his notebook and said, well, it's not worth it.
No. Oh, well. Branco maybe won't be taking this one. Oh, will he? Yes. He's gone back on a run that a fast bowler would take before a delivery, and they know what to expect this time. Breaking out from a wall, trying to make it more difficult for him. Seen all that before. Aragón will be thinking, this could be the end of my career if I let another one in from this distance. The referee's trying to get the wall to move back, and was doing it as indecisively as he's done quite a few things in this game. And look at that now. Really, the referee should have taken the book out there and made him take the free kick again, because somebody broke long before he took the shot. 2-0 the score, 10 minutes to go. Crowd getting hugely excited about something here.
I assume it's the Mexican wave. It is.
Yes, the Chilean version of the dreaded Mexican wave. As Brazil go forward, Rai. Miss of the century from him. But he finds Neto this time, and that's just offside. Mazinho 2.
Couple of incisive pieces of play by Brazil again, just reminiscent of the old great sides. It's difficult not to draw comparisons with the great Brazilian sides.
Yes, I know that Falcão, the coach who was, of course, in one of those great Brazilian sides in the 82 World Cup team, yeah, one of the things he said when he took over the job, and apparently he ran a very successful fashion business and used to earn a bit of money from working for Brazilian TV and had quite a comfortable life, and people said, well, you must be crazy to take this job on. And one of the things he said was, people have got to stop watching Brazilian teams and always harking back to the past, and it must be very, very difficult for the present players in any generation not to be compared with, well, you could roll them off your tongue, couldn't you, the all-time greats that have worn the yellow jersey. The game has changed, the players have changed, obviously, and people's expectations haven't changed. That's the one consistent factor. If it's Brazil, you automatically expect something special. Well, we've had a couple of very special moments from them in this game.
It still must be an unbelievable privilege to pull on that yellow shirt. To know that you're representing Brazil. Don't care what level it is, whether it's under 15, under 17, obviously the full level. But don't care what type of player you are. If you pulled on that yellow shirt, it must be the greatest feeling in the world.
Yeah, when you think it's the biggest country in the South American continent, and all those millions of youngsters, and poverty, of course, is a major problem in Brazil, who must dream of one day doing what these lads are doing tonight, playing for their country in a very important competition. That's a penalty, isn't it? No, I'm not sure he's given it. Well, once again, I would have to say I've seen them given for less than that. Let's have a look. I think he made a bit of a meal of it.
Well, I think again, I've got to get. I'm probably siding with the referee there again. I think there's an ounce of sympathy. I do believe that the Bolivian defender has poked his foot out. I don't think he meant to do it, and if it's not deliberate, it's not a penalty, I suppose. I have seen them given, but I don't think there was ever a chance the referee was giving it at this stage of the proceedings.
No, I think that's probably right. 7 minutes to go. Brazil 2-0 up, but you just get the feeling that there might be a third on the way here. It's been looking likely for the last few minutes now. Neto, who set them off with the first half penalty, takes the corner and whips it in dangerously, but not a Brazilian on the end of it this time. But now there is. The other Mazinho. And they've been totally without threat, the defenders for Brazil in this game. They've had a comfortable existence. But then again, you know, when Bolivia did have those little patches of possession, they got players back behind the ball in midfield areas, and as Martin has been saying, they look a difficult side to get through.
Yeah, I think Falcão will be very, very pleased with winning this match. Despite the fact it's only Bolivia, I say. Bolivia had the advantage of playing a game a couple of nights ago. And whether they talk about being tired, they're expecting that the winners are going to play 7 games in 15 days. Therefore, I feel that he'll think that it'll shake the cobwebs off them for this time. Bolivia, as I say, had the advantage of the game, had a very good result in terms of confidence.
And they could have the threat of a goal here, but no. Brazil hold out. For the moment, anyway. Now the captain, Melgar, has won the corner. A late corner with, well, less than 5 minutes to go, plus a little bit of time to be added for stoppages. Quite a lengthy stoppage, of course, when João Paulo was stretched off. Sanchez with the corner, and a tricky little one to the near post. Saldías played it back in, but then Brazil break dangerously. 5 minutes to go. One good thing about it, unlike last night when Argentina got 3-0 up and really just coasted around and eased their way through the last 20 minutes, Brazil have kept playing. Mauro Silva. Cafu tried to win it back. Whistle's gone. Bolivia's ball.
I think the Chilean press were savage in their annoyance at the way the Argentinians treated the last 25 minutes of that game against Venezuela. They sort of toying with the opposition, not something that went down too well anyway. But Argentina will feel that they were saving legs as much as anything else.
Argentina's still probably the team everyone loves to hate after the 1990 World Cup. It's a new Argentina, this. It's a new Brazil we're watching tonight as well. And of the two, you have to say Brazil have certainly been the more impressive. And the standard of the opposition, Bolivia, as against Venezuela, has been better too. Good football from Brazil again. And that's a good little cross, and it comes to Renato, and it was well blocked by Saldías. Just kept in by Sanchez. As we move into the last couple of minutes, Martin, always difficult, as we've been saying in the opening games here. We'll hold on a second because, yes, it has been given offside. First impressions of what is basically a new Brazilian team?
Yeah, I think they're strong. I think they'll be hard to beat. I think they'll be very difficult to beat. I probably didn't get completely the comparison or the contrast with Argentina. Argentina have got a couple of world-class forwards playing up there. There's always a possibility of them being able to turn the game on their own. I'm not so sure that Brazil possess that type of quality at the minute. Well, certainly on first showing. but they are very, very strong defensively, and it only needs just the occasional flash here and there to win matches. And if they get it right defensively,
and they got it right defensively,
they did. If they get it right defensively, they feel they can go a long way in the competition.
Certainly got a lucky deflection there, Ricardo Rocha. When Saldías, the opposite number 4, whipped that little dangerous ball in.
And if they get luck like that, they'll win the competition.
Yes, luck it was, because that could have deflected into his own net or gone anywhere. Minute to go. Corner to Bolivia. They're 2-0 behind. And Brazil have survived that one as well. Neto, the captain. Oh, he did well then. Mazinho. Played it in rather behind Gottardo, but they've kept possession. Renato. That's a good ball as well, and huge spaces now in the Bolivian defence. A wild shot at the end of it, which was disappointing really from Neto, because Brazil looked set fair to get something out of that.
Just like against Uruguay, Bolivia have had great difficulty in getting the ball away, despite the numbers they have back defensively. There were times against Uruguay where they had 3-1 and still found difficulty in getting the ball clear, and tonight has been no exception.
Brazil haven't finished yet though. Renato is selfless running, he's done well tonight, and offside was it, I think? Certainly the linesman flagged, so it must have been. And we're now into stoppage time here in Viña del Mar. And Brazil have got the 2 points that they came for in this, their opening game in Group B. And Bolivia, after the promise of their opening draw against Uruguay, have been beaten.
You're confident enough to say that?
Yes. Melgar brought down, they've got a free kick. Taken by Saldías. Echeverri lets it run on to Rimba. Echeverri wanted it back again and gets it. And finds Rimba. No, he's going to have a go himself. That could be a penalty, and it is. You got me worried now, Martin. Well, you said that the referee maybe wasn't giving the earlier penalty because it was too late in the game. He's given that one to Bolivia.
No, he wasn't. There is a certain amount of sympathy. It's easy for me to say this because he's not going to have a go at me, but there's a certain amount of sympathy in the referee's part for Bolivia. And that incident we talked about, the previous penalty incident, the one that we felt was a penalty for Brazil, I think he would have given it had it been at the other end.
Gottardo with a rather clumsy challenge, certainly. And Bolivia have a very, very late opportunity here to make some impact on the scoreline. Sanchez will take it and will score into the corner. Good enough goal. Too late, I fancy. In fact, I think the referee, has he blown the final whistle? He has. It's all over. I think that's his decision. The players are as confused as the crowd. As Sanchez whips it into the corner of the net. That must have been the last kick of the game. And indeed it is. So a dent in Brazil's defensive record at the end of it all. But frankly, consolation is the only word you can use to describe that goal. Brazil have won here by 2-1 against Bolivia. Neto with an early penalty. Falcão delighted to see Branco striking a marvellous free kick early in the second half. And then that very late penalty for Sanchez putting one back for Bolivia. Final score, Brazil 2, Bolivia 1. The holders off to a winning start.
Our second game tonight from Group B. Well, Brazil beating Bolivia by 2-1. They haven't been incandescent, that's for sure, but they've got some of the rust out of their system, and they've started with a win that takes them straight to the top of their group. The match statistics then for you. It was a match littered with fouls, really. But the goal attempts, Brazil with 14, Bolivia just 7. And Brazil always having the whip hand once Neto had put them ahead from the penalty spot after just 4 minutes. The second goal coming in at the start of the second half from Branco, and then Bolivia with that last gasp penalty, which made the match rather closer than, in fact, those statistics bear out. And really, Martin, that last-minute penalty just underlined the consequences of Aragón's errors in the Bolivian goal.
Very much so, Phil, yes. It's surprising. I think both of us thought that he played splendidly. I'm bringing you into this here because both of us thought he played splendidly against Uruguay, but he's made a disastrous start to the game and never really recovered. The first goal from the penalty spot was definitely his fault. And followed up from, despite Branco's effort on the free kick, I'd still say that somebody who's taken 40 yards to have a free kick at goal, they shouldn't score from that distance. And the ball's bouncing in front of him in the 6-yard box. It's swerved, there's no doubt. He's bent the ball with the outside of his left foot. It's a great shot. But at the end of it, the goalkeeper's he's got to ask himself, why did he not stop it?
Easy for us to sit in judgment up here, but really we have to say it was from fully 35 yards, and it was nothing more than a couple of metres away to his right hand.
Exactly. It's not. The ball is bending, it's dipping, and it's moving around, but it still hasn't gone. It still hasn't gone miles away from him. He's down late on it, and it's come past the wall. He's had time to see the ball.
But no complaints about that penalty decision?
No, none whatsoever. Just a bit of lethargy, a bit of lack of concentration on Brazil's part. And I think actually conceding this particular goal will do them a wee bit of good to know that teams can score against them if they just drop concentration for 10 or 15 minutes.
But Sanchez, the scorer then. Let's have a look at the group tables in Brazil's group. As we see, they come straight into the competition as defending champions. Well, they weren't 100% convincing tonight, but doing absolutely enough to see off Bolivia, and they go straight to the head of Group B. It's a very open group. Anything could happen there. Now then, Group A is where we'll be tomorrow evening as the Copa América for 1991 continues, and it will give us perhaps our first real chiller of the competition when Chile, the host nation, take on Argentina. There's bound to be a full house in Santiago for that one. It could well decide which of those two countries go forward to the final four. Chile really on a high after that 4-2 trouncing of Peru down here in Chile, but of the whole of South America. Chile and Venezuela to participate tomorrow. Chile taking on Peru, Venezuela taking on Argentina. The Group B results tonight: Uruguay won, Ecuador won earlier in the evening, Brazil beating Bolivia by 2-1. Well, we have now had 4 days of the Copa 91. We've had 8 games, and we've had 20 goals. That's a pretty good average so far. Long may it continue. We'll leave you tonight with the goals from Ecuador, Uruguay, and the 3 we've just seen: Brazil beating Bolivia by 2-1. From the whole commentary team here, on behalf of Martin O'Neill and Alan Parry, it's good night from the Copa 91. Reemplazando a Juan Berti Suárez.